and welcome to Art with Anna. Today we are switching gears. We will no longer be talking about a Dutch artist for a little bit, and we'll move things a little more modern. So we will be talking about artist Agnes Martin, and she is actually from Canada. She was born in the early 1900s and passed away in 2004. So she's quite recent, and she is most well known for her abstractions and specifically for her grid work. So we will be looking at some of those pieces of art today. I'm going to gather some supplies that we'll need and then we can get started. First you'll need 2 white sheets of paper, a black sheet of paper, a black writing utensil, crayon, marker, pen, anything is fine, some glue, scissors, and some sort of straight edge to draw along. I'm using a binder, but you can use a ruler or a book, really anything that has a straight edge to it. Alright, now that we have some supplies, we can talk a little bit more about Agnes's work. She is the type of artist that is called an abstract expressionist. We've talked about quite a few of abstract expressionists in the past, so this shouldn't be something that's completely new to you, unless you're just now joining Art with Anna. When we break down that word, abstract means kind of not like how it is in real life, different from how it is actually. And then expressionism just talks about expressing your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions. So it's really a way of expressing emotions that are hard to put into kind of a picture that you can think of, like happiness. How do you represent happiness? It's not something that we physically can see. So in this type of art, people are expressing those types of emotions that aren't something actually that you can see in kind of just an abstract way that still try to evoke those feelings. So for Agnes, the things that she really liked to focus on was simplicity, happiness, kind of like a sense of serenity and calm. So those types of things were what she was kind of meditating on and thinking about when she was making her art, and those are the types of emotions that she's trying to convey in her art to the viewer. So those are going to be the kinds of things we're thinking about today. So you want to get into kind of like a happiness, calm mindset while you're making art today. So if that means you need to put on music to make you feel calm, or you like a quiet environment to make you feel happy and calm, try to get into an environment that makes you feel that way. So looking at Agnes Martin's artwork, she is most well known for her grid work. So it really just looks like grids drawn in pencil or pen on a paper. And to some people that might seem really simplistic and like it's not art, but for Agnes, this is a way to express, like, a lot of times when people feel like there's order in their life, they feel calm and happy. So I think it was a little bit of that, and just recognizing beauty in the little things. So those are some things that her pieces should make you sort of feel. But they were also so fine and delicate that you really had to get up close to the paintings and really spend some time with them to really see them. So I think that's something that's quite neat about her artwork also. So we'll look here at the grids. So as you can see, they look very similar, and she also liked the idea of one of her pieces of artwork not needing to stand alone, but actually being a part of all of her artwork, as it being one kind of big piece. So oftentimes at galleries, her grids will be also placed on the wall in a grid fashion, kind of like these sticky notes behind me. If you can imagine, each sticky note is its own painting, but then all the paintings are kind of in their own grid. So that's something she also liked. And that was more of her early work. in the 1970s, kind of later in her life, she did explore more use of color and shape. So that did change her artwork a little bit. And that's because she went through some loss, a loss of a friend, and they also were, I think she also had to move during that time. She was just having, I think, a hard time finding happiness, so she really had to try to find it a different way. So she added some color to her art. She loved nature, she loved being outside, and even though she's from Canada, she spent most of her life in the US and much of her later life in New Mexico. So now that we've seen some of her artwork pieces and know a little bit more about her, let's get started in our art piece together. Okay, so the single piece of artwork that we will be focusing on today is called The Egg. So this one's a little different, and that's why I picked it. Instead of being a grid, it is still straight lines, but it has a little bit more form to it. So as you see here, it literally looks like an egg. And if you zoom in closely, what makes the shape of the egg are all these fine ink lines that are exactly straight. And so that is something that we're going to be inspired by today to make our own piece of artwork. So the thing we're going to need to start with is our first sheet of white paper. And then we're going to talk about 2 different ways to make lines, 2 different ways to make lines on this paper, and then we'll also talk about how to make kind of that egg shape. So let's take this sheet of paper. We're going to also grab our black paper, our scissors, and then really everything but our second white sheet of paper. So we'll need our straight edge, scissors, and black paper. So let's grab those things and let's get started. All right, so we have our white sheet of paper in front of us. Our goal for right now is just to make black lines across the whole paper. We're not worried about making it in an egg shape. We're really only worried about covering this paper in black lines. So there's 2 ways that we can do this. And the first way is by using our straight edge and taking our black writing utensil, whether that's a crayon, marker, pen, pencil, and we are just going to make some straight lines. Move our straight edge down slightly, straight line, and just repeat this a little bit. So that's one simple way of covering your white sheet of paper in some black lines. The second technique you can use to do this is by taking your black sheet of paper and cutting out strips. And they can be thin or thick. I'll do some of both. Thicker one. And then gluing those down. So we'll put a line of glue here. Paste down our lines. So you are welcome to choose one of these techniques or to do a mixture of both like I am. But you want to cover your entire sheet of white paper in black lines. So I'll keep going on this, and you guys keep going on it too. And when we're finished covering our white sheet of paper in black lines, we'll move on to the next step. All right, now that you have your paper with your lines on it, we'll move on to the next step. But as I was making this, I was trying to think of just like calm serenity, and I think there is something about straight lines and things being in order that can help people feel really calm. So I'm hoping while you were doing that, you were kind of feeling the same way, feeling a little bit of rest and calm. All right, so the next step is to make our egg shape. How are we going to do that? The way I would like to do it today is by taking our second sheet of paper, and we're gonna fold it in half, which I think I do every single video is fold something in half, but I like when things are symmetrical and it's the easiest way to do it. So we'll fold it in half like this and then cut out a shape. I don't think it needs to be an egg shape. I think that was a shape that maybe felt like calming, and an egg is kind of a sign of like new life and new beginnings. So possibly that's what Agnes was thinking about when she was making that. But it is an organic shape. So it is a shape that comes from nature, rounded edges. It's not something geometric like a triangle or a square. So organic shapes, there's just more of them. You can be more free. They don't have to be perfect. So I am going to take my sheet of paper and I'm just going to draw a shape on half of it. Let's see if you guys can see that. There's my shape. This is my organic shape, and I am going to cut along that line. And when I open it up, we will have my organic shape and we will glue it on top of our stripes. So go ahead and draw on half of your sheet of paper, make a shape, any shape that you want, and cut it out. All right, so I'm left with this kind of like sideways pear shape that I've made. And what I'm gonna do is put glue along the edges and then flip it over and glue it right onto my striped sheet of paper, and that will leave us with a striped shape, kind of similar to Agnes Martin's. Alright, so I am left with this shape right here like this. The only problem is there are some ends of black pieces of paper that need to be cut off. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to go around my edges and clean up all of these little black tabs that are sticking out, and then we will have our piece of artwork. Alright, now that you've finished your piece of artwork, you have your own Agnes Martin inspired piece. I did want to tell you favorite quotes from Agnes Martin when I was researching a little bit about her. She said, "My paintings are not about what is seen. They are about what's known forever in the mind." So you have your own painting about what is forever in the mind right here. Yeah, and I hope you guys had a little bit of fun today. We'll meet up again next week and talk about a new artist. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for making art with me. And please send me pictures of your art. I love to see it. And yeah, we'll meet up again next week. All right. Bye, guys.